everybody, and welcome back to It Takes a Village to Raise an Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Delina Medhin, and I am excited to talk to you about the intersection of creative entrepreneurship and gratitude. On this show, we highlight our guests' village, who helped them create, who helped them become, who's helping them build. I want to know all the details about that, and that's what we dive into on this show. Today's guest is the wonderful Julie Kandalec. Julie is a celebrity manicurist, and she has an extensive resume. Are you ready? Julie is a nail professional that editors, designers, and celebrities call to make their dream nails come true. She is the founding creative director of Paintbox Salon in New York City. Julie has made chic and on-trend nails accessible to a mainstream clientele, and now shares her years of experience with beauty professionals around the world as part of her Nailpreneur course. Her clients include Jessica Chastain, Emily Blunt, Selena Gomez, Jonas, Mariah Carey, Camila Cabello, McLean, and Hailee Steinfeld. Her work has been featured in Allure, Cosmopolitan, Elle, Glamour, Harper's Bazaar, InStyle, Vogue, WWD, and on campaigns for Chanel, Essie, Dior Beauty, Gucci, Tiffany & Co., Glossier, Bobbi Brown, Urban Decay, and Maybelline. We focus on a few different things within this episode. Number one, her Nailpreneur course, a course that is dedicated to understanding the business of being a manicurist. Her nail art book. So if you are a manicurist, or if you're somebody who just loves nails, you want to start designing what you want your manicurist to do for you. Assisting on set, what that looks like, how you can actually start working as a celebrity manicurist, and how you can assist Julie and what she looks for. Choosing an agent, branding and why it's important. We get really deep into that. Insurance and how to prepare yourself before anything happens in your business. Having a publicist and finding clients as a celebrity manicurist. I hope you enjoy this episode. It's excellent. I had so much fun talking to Julie, and let's get into it. Hi, Julie.
Hi, Julia.
Thank you for being here.
I'm so happy to be here with
I'm
you.
so excited. I want to tell you, first of all, I have to give you like the biggest shout out for being the most connected person in the world. I was just telling a story about how I was like with my nails. You remember like when I went to Manchester, England, and I was like, I called you.
Yes.
So for everybody listening, Julie does my nails. I'm very lucky to have you doing my nails because she doesn't take everybody on, but
Nope.
you know, I feel very special. And so I remember getting my nails done, and then a nail broke, and I was in Manchester, and I sent you a message, and then you sent me that like, oh no, and then you're like, okay, I'll be right back, and then you found someone,
Yes.
and like, what an obscure location, but that's you though. Like, I feel like that's your secret sauce.
Yeah. I mean, I think that it goes back to like doing shows, because I know nail professionals like everywhere. And
Everywhere.
and then now it like goes back to my Nailpreneur course. So part of that is, you know, they're part of my referral list. So now I know people all over that I can refer to people like you that, you know, need their nails done.
Yeah,
So.
traveling and needed something done. I mean, travel is also like when you start traveling, it's like your nails are like
Yeah.
that's like very intense.
Yes.
It can be like it's like the Olympics for your nails.
Yeah. Suitcases and baggage and
Exactly. So okay, so when you first started doing nails, I know you've obviously been doing nails for a while, but you started and you knew this was what you wanted to do from the beginning?
yeah.
Okay, how'd you know?
I just always was really creative, but I always loved to paint because I love texture.
Mm-hmm.
And I always loved miniatures. And now this is going back, like, I'm going to date myself, but whatever. Like, way before Instagram, like, way before any social media, really.
Mm-hmm. I started
And-
pre-social media too.
Yeah, it's changed so much.
It has.
And I think we're so honored that we've seen both before and after
Yeah.
and how it's changed. But I just really always loved, like, the little detail of doing nails because it's such a tiny palette. And it was kind of like combining the two things that I loved, which is painting and miniatures. And I also love to travel. So as a few years went by and I got a little bit older, I realized that I could travel and do nails because I thought like Fashion Week, that people only did Fashion Week.
Me too.
Like that you only go from like New York to London to Paris to Milan, then to Tokyo, and then you do whatever, right?
Yeah, I thought
And then
that too.
repeat.
Yeah, and that was it. Like that was your career.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and then I realized that, and then I also thought that that obviously someone's doing the nails for like an ad campaign, right? But I thought that someone on staff at that company was doing those nails. So like if you saw a Revlon campaign, I thought that someone on staff at Revlon was doing those nails. I thought someone like at Pepsi was doing those nails. And then I realized that's not the case. And then I thought, oh my God, that's what I want to do because I can travel and I can be creative. And here we are.
When you were younger, did you travel at all? Or was it just like you were like, oh, I want to go somewhere else besides here? Besides where I'm at. Yeah.
You know, I grew up in Ohio.
Yes.
Small town.
Mm-hmm.
I always knew that I wanted to travel. Now, I really didn't travel until I was 19, I think.
Okay.
So, you know, our travel was going to Michigan to see the family once a year. That was it. And then my first trip overseas, I think I went to Niagara Falls once. That was like my first one out of the country,
Yes,
which is like a 2-hour drive from Cleveland. That's it. And then coincidentally, it was right after 9/11, but we booked it before 9/11, was a big hair show in London. I forgot what it's called.
Okay.
But it was like October of 2001. And that was my first time overseas. And even with all the security and stuff with 9/11, and we were all afraid because we just didn't really know what was going on, I was obsessed. And
You were like, I just want to be here.
It was just so different. And
Yeah.
I remember like we were looking for the Top Shop.
Yeah.
Because that was the only one that existed at the time. And I was like, this is the coolest thing. And I bought all these cool pieces that I still actually have a few of them. I have like 2 tops that I bought there.
From Topshop?
From Topshop in London. It's probably like vintage, considered vintage now.
Yeah.
But like I just had so many good memories of like being able to buy the cool things that no one else had. And it was just such an addiction for travel. So
Yeah. And you were like, that's it. I want to travel.
Yeah.
And you even created like Julie Off Duty. Like that was like your, like it became like travel and then nails.
Yep.
Yeah. Which is like what I think you're known for.
Yeah.
Even taking pictures of nails in cool places.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't posted on Julie Off Duty in a long time.
Yeah.
Because it's such a hobby. Like it was never a career. It was just a fun thing. But after the pandemic, things changed a lot. And then it did for everyone.
Yeah.
But I just really wanted to do more education. Like I come from a family of educators, and then I saw the need for more education for nail professionals. And that's kind of how Julie K Nail Academy came.
Yep.
So
when did you start educating? Because I feel like you always you did Paintbox, right? You were the creative director for Paintbox.
So even before Paintbox, so when
Okay.
I was in Ohio,
Yep.
I taught. So I worked at a full service salon. We had like 8 or probably more nail technicians. So I was the head of the department. I would do all the educating there. Now this was like, I moved to New York in 2010. So this was before that. So I'd probably been teaching 14 years roughly now.
Okay.
So I taught everyone there. And then when I moved, I trained the girls that replaced me in Ohio for here. And then when I was here, I was the consultant before Paintbox opened with Paintbox for an entire year. And then I was a creative director and educator. So I'm the one that created the manicure that Paintbox still uses to this day.
Oh, wow.
The step-by-step. I trained all the staff, and then I trained the staff that now is training the other staff because I'm not there anymore. So yeah, lots of education in my past.
So it's been like Julie, the manicurist, Julie, the teacher at the same time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Yep.
What about social media? Like in terms of adding that social media piece to your life? When did that start? And was it reluctant or was it like, ooh, this is cool?
It was so reluctant.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I didn't show my face.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, I think I started showing it. So here's a fun fact.
Okay.
Instagram was like released the same week that I moved to New York City. If you look it up, I moved here on 10/10/10.
Yeah.
I think the launch date on the App Store was like 10/12/10 or something like that. Like that very week.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
But, you know, I did it. I only posted photos of, you know, food and nails and things like that in my work, but never my face. Because I was like, I don't want people to.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be behind the camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now I'm like, woo, photos everywhere. I don't care.
Yeah.
And it still is a full-time job to post. I mean,
yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of work.
But
okay, so social, and then you were doing manicures, and then you were also teaching. So that's a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have my book.
And then you have your book. Yeah. So you launched the book
Yeah.
recently.
Yes.
That was during the pandemic, 2020.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a copy of the book. Anybody who's watching.
I
don't know. Do you want to walk us through the book though?
Sure.
Yeah. So the nail art book.
Yeah. So
did this come from the teaching side where you're like, okay, I want people to be able to play and like be able to create?
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like a coloring book for nail girls.
It is.
Yeah.
So another fun fact.
Yeah.
So this is actually like the 4th version of the one that I created.
Okay.
And so I was supposed to teach at the beauty show in March of 2020, the one at the Javits Center.
Okay.
And I was teaching nails, press-ons, because I knew that they were going to be a huge trend. And look at what they are, press-ons and something else. And this was when that you knew it was going to be a trend. Okay, wow, yeah. And March they did. That's exactly when they became a big trend. Yep.
Wow, trend predictor.
Trend predictor.
I love it.
My title.
Yeah, exactly.
So I had so I knew that I was going to have all these students captive, and I wanted to gift them something. And I knew I had this idea for so long, and I thought, okay, just get this to print. I hired a graphic designer, get it to print, and it was done, whatever. So, of course, pandemic came, the whole show was canceled, and then I looked at my book, and I was photographing it myself in my apartment because, we're at home, pandemic. And I thought, you know what? I'm looking at it from the point of view of a beauty editor. And it was pretty, but it wasn't what I wanted. Yeah. To be totally honest.
Yeah. Beauty editor meaning you're can somebody use this aside, or what do you mean when you're saying looking at it like a beauty editor?
I wanted them to be able to be excited about it because I know working with beauty editors for so long backstage at Fashion Week, and with all the editors that I work with at Paintbox, I know that they like things that are colorful and exciting, and there's a lot to talk about. I know what they like in a product.
Got it.
And my old book didn't have it.
Okay.
To be told, you know what I mean? It didn't have this. It didn't have the spiral. Yeah. It didn't have the gold foil cover. This is a soft touch cover. It didn't have this. I mean, it was nothing like this at all. Okay. So since I had the time, I said, okay, well, I don't have to get this finished for the show. Right. I just went back to the drawing board. I found a new graphic designer. No offense to my original one. I love you, girlfriend. Shout
out to the original.
Shout out to the OG. I absolutely love you.
Yes.
But I just knew that I wanted to have more things.
Yeah.
So I did this soft touch cover, this paint on the front, and there's actually 2 covers. This is artwork that I created myself.
Oh, cool.
With nail polish, yeah. And photographed. I had a photographer actually come over. This was in May, so we were a little
That's so cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Because I remember when you put it up on Instagram and you were choose this one or this one.
Yep.
I didn't realize they were things that you had personally created.
Yep.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so inside,
I wanted it to be an educational journey because there are other books that are like this that just have, the palettes. Yeah. But I wanted it to be an educational journey for my students. So it starts with photos of my work for inspiration.
Okay.
Then there's a little opening thing from me.
Nice.
And I like how the little thing says, for my daddy, who has always supported my crazy ideas, last-minute travels, and enduring countless years of his house smelling like acrylic and nail polish remover. And then I go into tools.
Your dad has been supportive, too, from the very beginning.
Oh, from day one.
We're going to talk more about that in just a second, because I love your relationship with your dad. Yeah.
Tools of the trade, so you'd be able to pick your tools first, so you know what brush does what.
Okay.
And then color theory.
Nice.
Yeah, because mixing polish, just mixing makeup and, undertone and things like that. So we go into color theory, and then I have color combinations because so frequently clients are like, what color goes with, if I'm doing nail art, what color goes with this color and things like that. So I have foolproof color combos. And then I have 2 pages of that. They're broken down by season and
season of the year.
Season. Okay. And they're all named after locations.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so Santa Fe, London, Sedona, Salem.
You name them.
Yeah,
nice.
So that little travel bit in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And then I have some inspiration looks.
Okay.
So, and some of these are named after people that I've done them on. For example, this one for Camila. This is for Camila Cabello. I did this on her for Global Citizen.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, and then of course we get into the, and this is in action. some looks that I did. This is one that I did for the blondes.
I love that you brought the one that you use.
Yeah.
Like not an empty
This is like
one.
the
This is
actual
your
one.
Yeah, this is yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just show it to the designer and they're like, yeah, I love it.
Boom, done.
Boom, done. It saves so much time.
That's so great. So originally, were you creating this for like your students, like people who want to be manicurist, or is this for people who just get excited about nails and they're like, or both?
Both.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted it to be for all ages because everyone was sitting at home doing their nails.
Right.
So I wanted something that they could either sketch out themselves and then bring into their nail professional.
Yeah.
And then show them, or the nail tech buys it and then does it with their client. So.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about creating your own press-ons?
Yes, but oh gosh, I wish I had time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're a very busy woman.
Yeah.
Yes. I know. I also want to talk to you about like how you get rest, Julie, because you work a lot. Like I don't think people really know how much you work. You work all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like if there's like 20 minutes, you're like, I think I can fit something in.
Well, I run 4 businesses. So
one is, I know you have the atelier, your own atelier.
Yep. So
Okay.
that one. And then I have my freelance where I'm like on set doing celebrity house calls, things like that.
Yep.
And then I have the academy and then I have my book and I have other products on my website that I sell.
What other products are you selling?
It changes seasonally. So I have like just regular clear tips. I have like gems. I have nail art brushes, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's not my design like this. It's just like things that I found that are really cool, curated
Okay.
to sell.
So can you do those as like a drop ship, or is that more of like you have to stock them and then you ship them out?
I stock it and ship it.
Oh wow.
I'm just a little control freak. That's all.
That is intense. Julie, you're shipping these things yourself?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay, so in terms of help, I know you have your assistant who you said is like the most valuable person on your team. Okay, so how did you find this assistant and how many people did you work with before you found the one?
Gosh. I've been looking for an assistant for years, to be honest. It's really hard because, my brand is very specific.
Mm-hmm.
I learned that by working at Paintbox. Their brand is very, it is what it is. We did it, to the T. This is what branding is, and that's what it's going to be. And I loved that.
Yeah.
So I picked up a lot of that. Like, this is my brand. These are the fonts. This is the color. This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to wear pearl earrings every day. Like, it's all part of the brand.
Ah, okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So to find
I never even
someone-
thought about that, but it's true.
Mm-hmm.
There's an organization even to the way, like as a customer, client, it does really feel I feel very taken care of. I feel like I can relax. This is the longest that I've gone consistently going to someone.
I feel very honored.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say thank you. I know that my nail story is not why we're here, but I just wanted to say
Shameless plug.
that it's changed my relationship with getting my nails done.
Yeah.
And I even remember when you said that you were going to create that specific experience and you were like, what are people looking for? And I remember DMing you and being like, yeah, I totally want that experience where I can have a one-on-one experience with people. Do you feel like people have really bonded with that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think people need like a peace of mind, like some space when they get services done.
Yeah. And, that's the reason to this day that I still, I have two tables in my atelier, but it's still only one person at a time because people still like that private attention.
Yeah.
So.
And then you can just sit and you can be there and you can focus. Or even sometimes you and I talk for a little bit and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to watch a TV show.
Right.
And then like we either watch it together, you're like, yeah, girl, you do your thing, I'll do mine.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is so good. For you, you don't necessarily have to have that. What drew you to like being like, I want to have an atelier? Like to me, I'm like, is it she just wants to stay sharp? Like, cause I'm just like, what is it that made you want to do it?
I never thought if you were to tell me, Julie, you are going to have a salon in New York City, I'd be like, you're out of your mind.
Yeah. Because
opening Paintbox was an amazing experience, but it was so much work. And I knew that I didn't want to be a salon owner because it's a full-time job. And I was already like doing everything else. And I just I like my free time. I have very little of it. So I just like free time and personal time.
Yeah.
But to go back to November of 2020, there was a little article that came out in the New York Times.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
I do, yeah.
All of my nail professionals are cringing right now because I know exactly which one I'm talking about.
Yes.
And don't Google it because I don't want any more clicks on it. But there's a highlight in my Instagram. If you want to know what it's about, there's a highlight called New York Times. And the piece basically was, is this the end of the manicure? And it was there were so many things wrong with it. Like, it was just factually incorrect. It was, there was nothing fact-checked about it. It was very demeaning to nail professionals, and especially because there are so many minorities in the nail industry, so many people of color, so many women. And it was just like, I kind of blocked it out, to be honest, but it was a really, really nasty piece in the New York Times of all places.
I remember this was like, everyone was on fire about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I decided to do something about it. And, I don't know. I knew that in my position with my following and with my experience with, the brands and editors and other nail professionals that follow me and look up to me, I said, okay, it's up to me to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so I opened Julie K Nail Atelier to show that nails are still very much a thing. And it was so, my waiting list was crazy. I was booked, and I still had people on the wait list that have joined probably back then. So I just wanted to show that, like, there is a safe space for people to come get it done. And it was after a pandemic, and the nail, basically I wanted to prove that the manicure is not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So
is that part of your personality? Are you like, you can't tell me that I can't do that. I'm gonna go do it.
It is now. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm very happy that you did. And I remember being I think I was on the wait list for like 2 months. Because I remember reaching out to you, I think, in the very beginning, right before you even started.
Mm-hmm.
And still it was like, I think it was like 2.5 months at first.
Yeah.
So basically it's impossible right now.
It is. I'm sorry. Anyone, please.
Yeah.
The wait list is closed.
Yeah, the wait list is closed. Is there anyone that you're thinking about, like, training to bring in? I know you have really great assistants that I have had the pleasure of working with.
I know.
People that I know you've had assist you for Fashion Week.
Yep.
But also some that live close by. They live in the city or they live here.
Yeah. So I do have a few assistants that I know very well and trust that have worked with me for some a very long time, some like a year or two.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're in there when I'm traveling. Like, I was in Bali for a month, and they came in and they took care of you and a few other people. Yeah. So I don't know if it'll ever be a full blown, employee status,
right,
kind of a thing. But to have them in there when I'm not there is really valuable, and then you're still taken care of.
Yes, exactly. Mm-hmm. I'm still taken care of. So, okay, for you, in terms of having that space, does it also serve like a place for you to be able to like be like, this is work and then I have home? Yes. Does that help you like divide that for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I get, like, I'm sure we get so much product.
Yes.
That to separate it and to have a home for it. In my old apartment, I have another bedroom for it, because we just get so much stuff, and I wanted to have a place where it could live. And then it's like a whole separate thing. And then once I come home, it's done.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so talk to me about your relationship with your dad, because I think you guys are so sweet. He's like been so encouraging to your process.
I'm so grateful for my dad.
Yeah.
He's always been really supportive. Like, he was a teacher. He's retired now. He was a teacher for 35 and a half years. And he taught at my high school. So everyone, like, all the teachers knew who I was. I couldn't skip school. Like, it was a whole...
It was a whole thing.
I was, like, such a good girl. But my dad is awesome. I lost my mom when I was really young. And I did have a stepmom for quite a while, and she was great. But, like, my dad's like, the best.
Yeah.
I'm going to cry. But try to hold it together. My dad's like so this will give you an idea. Every time I go home, oh my God, Julie, how's your dad? I saw your dad. Your dad is so proud of you. Like, it's not even about me. It's like, I saw your dad.
Yeah.
Like Mr. K is so popular and famous and people just love him.
Yeah.
So
it's so great to have someone who is supportive. Do you think that that really helped you get to where you are in your career? Like, do you feel like that was essential for you?
Yeah, because I know a lot of parents are, go to 4-year college, you have to get a job like, a doctor or like a real job. And my dad never, ever, ever once pressured me into going to 4-year college or doing anything outside of exactly what I was doing.
Yeah. Did you ever have any regrets, or are you like, I'm so happy I did not do that?
For a little while I wanted to go, because I'm from Ohio, right? So I wanted to go to Kent State.
Okay.
Because they have a fashion program.
Okay.
And I thought like, okay, if I went to Kent State, it's not too far. I would have that 4-year college experience with like the sorority sisters and all of that. And then still have maybe a fashion degree. I thought would be cool.
Yeah.
But at that point I was like 23. I was like way too old for going back to college.
So you were like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm
good.
The time has passed. The opportunity is no longer valid.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think like coming to New York was basically like your college.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What age did you get here?
I was...
You don't have to say it.
I was like...
I was like, hold on, wait.
I'm like, wait.
Yeah, 13.
How do I say this? 13 years ago.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
12.
Yeah.
I graduated early and I moved here when I was 12.
Yeah. Okay, so it's been 13 years in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
I know.
Did you expect your career to go the way that it went? Because like you've had a really exceptional career, especially and I think also the other thing that I think is really unique is not only do you know a lot of people, I remember when I was still like testing and I would email you and I'd be like, hey, Julie, do you have anybody that needs to build their portfolio?
Yeah.
And you would always find me people. And I was like my, we both had Crystal Wright as a mentor and she was like, if those nails are messed up in your beauty test,
yep.
It was like, if you do that test photo shoot and those nails look wild, that's on you. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter how beautiful the makeup is if the nails aren't done, because it really finishes it. It really finishes the whole look. It brings everything. It's part of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel your connection is with like glam teams? Do you feel like you get included in that story? Do you feel like you have to like fight for your spot in those stories? Like
okay.
Yeah.
For any beauty professional listening, please tag the Manicurist. Please. I can't tell because it's because other people repost it, especially during award season, because people repost it and then we're excluded from that. And then people repost that and then we're excluded from that. And then it's a chain reaction. And we're on set with them. Like, it's not like we did the nails ahead of time.
Right.
We are literally sitting 6 inches from you doing the makeup and you're not going to credit me? I don't care if the nails aren't in the photo. Please, hair and makeup, I love you styling. Please credit us because it really is a snowball effect.
Yeah. That's a really interesting point because it's like, I've definitely seen so many, there could be an article written about that.
I'm working on it.
Because it's a very consistent thing. I wonder why it is like that. Why do you think that it's like that? You think it's just like culture, like how it started and then people are just like, I'm not going to, or...
I don't know.
Yeah.
I wish I knew because then I would be better equipped to fix it. I want to buy towels that have, like, I joke with my assistant, my best friend that we're talking about. Yeah. I was like, I want to buy a shirt that says tag the Manicurist, but I think that might be a little passive aggressive.
Yeah. Hashtag tag the
Hashtag.
And then you just wear it to set every time.
Every day.
Maybe a necklace.
With like my Instagram handle all over the towels.
Yeah.
On the lamp.
I know, and and it's it's also one of the hardest positions too, because typically you're like on the floor or like underneath or like it's like there's so many things about that just can be like really, it's very intense.
Yeah, and then we're doing gel, so like gel for my nail techs that are listening, gel self-level. So if the client is sitting in a particular way, and like it's gonna roll,
and
if you cure it.
just
hard.
the whole
It's
thing.
really hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
In terms of landing like a client, like whenever you were like, okay, is that a strategic thing for you? Is that I reach out to them myself? Do I ask my manager to reach out to these people? Is it like, how do you do it in a way that's classy? Because I think to be on brand, I feel like if you have not seen the video of this, please go and watch the video. Julie's in an all pink suit and pearl earrings. She is on brand, okay? So it's like you are very classy. And so I know that the reach out has to be classy, like in terms of finding a manager that can fit that. Was that a lot too?
Yeah. And I have 2 agents. I don't have a manager per se. I have 2 agents and I have a publicist. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, everyone knows what my brand is. They follow what I would say basically to a client. Sometimes I do reach out to them like, hey, I'll be in town if anything is needed, but usually I let my agent and stuff handle that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the very beginning, like you're like little Julie in the city. Yeah. So how do you move from, was Paintbox a good intro into working in the celebrity world?
I was already working with,
yes,
I was already working with celebrities.
Okay.
Because I started with Paintbox. I moved here in 2010. I started consulting with Paintbox in 2013 for a year, and then we opened in 2014.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the job that kind of brought you to the city.
So no, I was already here for 3 years before I met the founder. Yeah.
Okay.
So I was already doing celeb stuff, but the editors kind of knew me because I would do desk size with Essie.
Okay.
So Essie is a brand that I've worked with since I moved here. So we would do desk sides and meet the editors. So some of them knew me really well already. But then when Paintbox opened and I was the creative director, then that really solidified my relationship with all the beauty editors. And of course, being backstage at Fashion Week when all the editors would come and we would talk about the look and the trend and the step-by-step and all that. So, I mean, but Paintbox definitely was a big step with that. Learning the editors and getting to know them, yeah.
Yeah. Would you say that getting editorials is important before you start? Does that kind of help bring you into like knowing more clients? Because I think more for makeup, it's like your client will bring you into the editorial. Is it similar for manicurists or is it?
It can happen both ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Like usually for editorial, my agent will suggest me.
Okay.
And then that's how I meet either the photographer, the makeup artist, the celebrity, the model that would then suggest me for the next thing.
Hey, thank you so much for watching this episode of It Takes a Village podcast. I'd like to invite you to do 2 things and then I'll get you back into the episode. Number 1, if you could go and leave us a 5-star review, leave us information about what you liked about the episode. And most importantly, this is something I'm going to incorporate into future episodes, is leave your questions, things that you want asked by these experts. I really want to make sure that you're getting exactly what you need to help move your business to the next level. Number 2, if you can go over to ittakesavillagepod.com, that's pod.com, you can subscribe to our newsletter. So our newsletter has information about each episode coming out, show notes, details about the guest, and more. So go check that out as well. And with that, let's get back into the episode.
But if there are celebrity clients that have a request, like a celebrity that I would normally work with, then it would be like, talent's choice, and then they would bring me on. So it's both.
Okay. In terms of the academy, how do you choose people to be a part of it? Because I know you just had a scholarship. I'm so sorry you lost your dog, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I had a chance to meet her.
I know.
I met Maya.
I know. She's such a love, my little love. So, yeah, the academy, I decided to do a scholarship for my Nailpreneur Academy this season. And this is the 3rd season that we're entering. And I decided to do a scholarship because my vet that was taking care of Maya she had heart failure. She went into heart failure. So during the period where he was taking care of her, his goddaughter is a nail professional. And I've actually been mentoring her for like a year.
Okay.
So I thought, how can I give back to the nail industry? And that inspired me to do the scholarship. And so I put out this scholarship thing, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna get like, 8 or 9 not entries, but applications, and I'll just pick one and it'll be easy.
Yeah,
it was hard. I got way more than that, and the decision process was like a 3-week process because I narrowed it down to like the total amount, and then I narrowed down to 22, and then to 12, and then to 6, and then to 3.
Wow.
So, but it was so fun. I mean, we did challenges like design a nail. The Grammys were the one weekend. Mm-hmm. And the one challenge that I really liked, which was really valuable for everyone involved, not just those that were in it or that won, I chose 5 celebrities for them to create a nail look for. So the 5 celebrities were Harry Styles, Viola Davis, Taylor Swift, J-Lo, and Camila Cabello. And so the instructions were, follow the instructions. Create a nail look that would go with all of the looks that they wore that night, because Harry wore like 2 or 3 different looks. And so, when we're doing nails for a show, we can't change the nails in between.
Right.
There's no way. So I had them create a look. And my favorite example is the one for Viola Davis. And I worked with V for a long time. She never did nail art. It was only like nude or like a solid jewel tone. And then the person that chose Viola, she did so well because she did so much research. And she's like, Viola would never wear nail art. These are the colors. And she like killed it. And I said, this was almost, I wasn't doing it like as a trick kind of a thing.
Right.
But it just goes to show that it's about doing your research on the client, because we can't push a client to doing something that's off-brand. So, and the look that she chose was like a deep blue gemstone, and I'm like, this is so Viola. She totally rocked. So, yeah, so that was an example of one of the challenges that we did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that's really good in terms of that's a very good point in terms of celebrity, because that also creates instant trust.
Yep.
Where they're like, oh, you understand me and you get me.
You did your research.
Yeah. Is that similar to what you do too before you start working with somebody? You're like, okay, let me see what they're doing.
Yep.
Are you ever tempted to like push them a little bit into like something? Yeah. You're like,
yeah.
Ooh, what if I add a little bit of
just
this?
A little, like I'll always bring a little glitter.
Yeah. Just in case.
It's like a glitter polish just for like a little moon or a little zhuzh.
Yeah.
Here and there, because it's enough that it doesn't usually show up from super far away or scare, someone that's not into that.
Yeah.
But I'll always try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the hardest thing about like managing assistants? Like in terms of like if you have a bunch of people on set with you, because I know you do Fashion Week.
Yep.
And so like that is very chaotic. You've got hair and makeup, you've got nails, everybody, and then models, and then them showing up late.
Yep.
And it's always the most important one that shows up late. And you're like, oh, this is the one that's going to get photographed the most.
Yeah.
Have you ever had like one person on each nail?
I think the most is 1 per limb.
Okay.
1 per foot, 1 per hand.
Okay.
Probably like 2 or 3 on her hair, and then like 2 on her face.
Yeah.
I think we should do that all the time though, because they're done in 5 minutes.
5 minutes.
Why don't we do this more?
Why? That's a good question. That's a really good question.
They always look great.
They do always look great. And because you also know that your job is on the line.
Right.
You're like, they have to look perfect. They're going to be the only person that anybody reposts for the show.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I've been backstage. I've done shows. I've led shows at Fashion Week for like 20 seasons. I mean,
wow.
Yeah. And so one of the things, I know my team because I can choose them. So I know, which is such a blessing, because I know leads can't always pick their team. So I know them well enough. So I know like where their strengths are. But I always wear, like I don't wear black, so I'm easy to find if someone needs me.
Okay. So
I always make sure that I wear something that stands out. And I don't know. I just make rounds. I don't know. I'm very hands-on. I don't actually do nails backstage.
Got it.
Maybe the first like hour I'll do some. But then I'm always just like walking around, just making sure everyone needs, they don't need anything. They have food, like they don't need any more remover or pedicure slippers, or, I'm kind of like the mom.
Yeah. Yeah. And then you do prep too, right? Because you did the blondes. Like the blondes is always like super fun. They always have like the coolest nails.
Yeah.
Is that a fun one to like, how do you talk to them? How do you like create, like what is a manicurist speaking, like a key manicurist speaking to someone like the blondes? How do you put that together with them?
So color tests is the meeting that you have with a designer a few days or sometimes a few weeks before fashion week.
Okay.
And I will meet sometimes I'll go with the brand that's sponsoring it. So for example, with the blondes, C&D is the polish sponsor.
Okay.
So Jen Arnold, which is the founder of C&D, will have calls. Usually the blondes, I'm using them as an example. They'll have an idea because they already know what the clothes look like. So they have an idea. They're so creative. They already know kind of the general idea of what they want. And then they'll go back to Jan, and she's so incredibly creative. And then she'll have ideas, and then we'll chat together like, what if we did this? And what if we did this? And then I actually have a whole like clamshell board of tips that I designed, and then I sent them to the blonde so they could pick. So I actually did it on tips to show like, okay, this is, one example, and I just did like 40 different, and we kind of just go from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's not about giving them less options. It's about giving them as many options as you can that encapsulate your ideas, Jen's ideas, and what they might want.
Yeah. So, with the blondes, they always do different looks on everyone. So I want to give them a lot of different options.
Got it.
But usually designers, it's like one look. Sometimes they'll do two. Like I just did the Markarian show, and that was 2 looks. So, that was fun. I met with the designer Allie. She's so sweet.
Yeah.
And we just kind of like went there, color test. I saw the clothes. I sketched it out in my book, and they loved it. I did it on the model, and we went home.
Nice.
The color test. Yeah.
What are you looking for in an assistant in terms of their personality? What do you need?
That's a great question. So I must preface this now by saying that my assistants are now exclusively my grads from my course.
Okay.
So if you want to be my assistant, you have to take the course first.
Nice.
For an assistant, I like someone who doesn't talk because we don't have time. And this goes for backstage, but also when we're on set. Like, I don't have time for you to like ask her what her boyfriend's like and all of that. We just don't have time.
I agree.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. It's like it's funny because I feel like it can just be distracting, I think, and it just ends up taking way, way, way more time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also, I don't know, my first thought was also like energy, right? Yeah. Like, I think that as a makeup artist, like I'm right there in the face of the person, right? You're right there, like you're like, right, like you're touching hands are like such a sensitive.
It's like an energy
It's an energy exchange. So it's kind of like keeping everything positive, I think is really important. And sometimes when people are like nervous and excited, they might be like,
it rubs off.
It does.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just need you to be calm.
Just take it from like here to like here.
Yeah. Okay. So no talking. What else?
No talking.
Yeah.
And you have to be prepared. Like I can't, like I bring everything anyways because I'm like someone who's over prepared and just, I bring all the things anyways. But I don't want you to be like, Julie, do you have nail polish remover? Julie, do you have this? Like I'm hiring you to, this is more on set versus fashion week. I usually bring everything backstage because that's part of my job. But when we're on set, like, and this is why I teach this, and this is why I only hire my students because they are prepared now. But being prepared and just being like, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like they're independent. They don't need me to be like, okay, what do I need to do? I mean, you can ask questions, of course, because maybe it's our first time together, but really being independent because I can't always, monitor everything. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. And then what makes you call them back though? What's that special something? Because I feel like there's like, they could have all the like technical stuff, but there's like that little
the special sauce.
That special sauce. How do they get to the A++?
They go above and beyond they're always prepared, they're on time without being too early. Because sometimes, like if we're on set and there's, think about like, okay, Jack Studios, there's a place for you to wait. You can be early there, you can have a coffee, you can be an hour late, I don't care. But if we're on set in someone's home and there's nowhere for you to go, it's an uncomfortable and it's cold out. I don't want you to like wait outside. So, being on time is the most important. I'd rather have you be early than late, but there is kind of like that's important.
Yeah.
Looking professional. Don't come looking like, unprofessional, whatever that means. Like,
yeah.
Look pulled together, look like you work in the beauty industry, have your nails at least groomed. They don't have to be like a whole thing, but at least
make it look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah. Put a little cheek thing on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I find that I think you and I talked about this because, I mean, obviously we talk to each other a lot because we see each other every few weeks. But like, I remember us talking about how when you show up a certain way, you attract a certain client.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, because I think the idea, maybe it's less now like post-COVID, but pre-COVID, I feel like going to work in sweats was like, that's what like
normal.
That's what glam did.
Yeah.
Like now I feel like, and it might have even been a little bit before like the COVID time period, but I felt like everything switched to more on camera.
Yeah.
Like you didn't know if you were going to be recorded or not.
Right.
While back in the day,
right,
you never had to worry about that.
Right.
So you coming in as like the help.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so like most people didn't really care. Like for you, was it always something that you paid attention to for yourself? Were you always like, okay, I need to dress this way from the very beginning?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you think that was like really influential in helping you navigate the industry and work with the type of clients you have too?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I do. I think that, like you said, and like we've talked about, you attract people that look like you. And I don't mean like look like you, but I mean like that have the same energy as you, that, maybe they have the same, like, I don't know, they dress like you. If you dress up, they're, your clients, it's a very like, exchanging of a lot of energy.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
It's just natural for us to be drawn to people like us.
Yeah. It makes sense. I think that, and I think one of the things that you and I also spoke about is that it's not necessarily like, okay, you got to walk in and have like designer bags or designer jewelry. Mm-hmm. It's like you said, you're like, you can show up that way as an assistant too. Yeah. You can show up with your hair done, yep, your nails done, have a little bit of makeup on, yeah, or like, that kind of thing where it's like there are some things that you can do that actually don't have anything to do with how much money you have.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think it can be confusing sometimes for people because when you walk into our industry.
Right. You see a lot of designer things. You see like, you feel intimidated.
Yeah.
And can I tell you, this is from Amazon?
Yeah. I love that. It's so cute. It's so cute.
And you don't have to, thank you. I wear this teaching actually.
That's really nice. You got to send me the link to that.
I will.
Send me your Amazon link.
I will. It comes in all different colors too.
Yeah.
But something that I teach actually in my course, because I don't want people to like, when you take an online course and you're like, or even in person and you're like, okay, well, I just spent all this money on this tuition and I have to spend money on a kit and buy new clothes and da-da-da-da-da. So I share some different like color combinations that make you look expensive. But I mean, most of the stuff that I get is from Zara.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like camel, black, shades of white. It looks expensive. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah. How do you become a collaborative part of the Glam team?
It's actually something that has taken me a long time to kind of have the confidence to speak up, because when I first started, I let the hair and makeup decide styling, and then I was like, what kind of nail do you want? Red. Okay. And then I just do the thing and that's it.
Okay.
But now I realize, and what I want everyone listening to realize, is that we're a part of the creative. We're there because we are professionals, and the team wants our thoughts and feedback as well about what's trending. And so I want all of us to be more open about talking and speaking up, and this is what I think, and what do you think about this? Or like, looking at the clothes first, and then I pull a few colors, and I'll even pull some like wild cards. Like maybe all the clothes are black, maybe I'll pull a lime green. Mm-hmm. I'm the professional, we're the professionals. Why not?
Yeah.
And then more often than not, they don't even realize it. Oh yeah, let's do the lime green. Never thought about that. Mm-hmm. So it's about just thinking outside the box trend-wise, suggesting and speaking up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And being the authority and owning that.
Exactly.
Because they can feel that.
Yep. Yeah, that's what I do. Like I'll look at the clothes, like for a recent awards show with a client, I had all my colors, right?
Yeah.
Everything. And then I just pulled, I think 6.
Yeah.
I said, okay. I went to the talent. I said, which one do you want? She
Yeah.
said, this one. I said, okay, done. She didn't even look at I didn't even show her the rest of them.
That's great.
She's got so much going on.
It keeps everything good.
Yeah.
How did you go from working with everyday people to working with celebrities? Like, do you feel like there was like a person that helped you do that?
I mean, look, like an agent can put us up for a job.
True.
But it's up to us to keep that client. And for us to, put forward a professional face on our website or on our Instagram or whatever. So the agent can only do so much for us.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is us. So, and then once you see them for the first time, then it's really up to us to see that client for the second time. And that's the important thing is when you can do every celebrity in the world, but if you only do them once and they never want to see you again, you're not a celebrity nail technician. Because if they don't call you back, it's just chance.
Yeah. What are your ideas on relationship building? I know so many really talented people, and they haven't really gotten to like the place that you would think that they would get to. And I always say that like attitude is more important than your talent.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, the skill, like the actual doing the nails or the hair or the makeup is just a small part of it. Mm-hmm. A lot of it is communication, getting back to people very quickly because, I mean, there are so many of us that if I don't hear back from an assistant right away, 5 minutes, I'm looking for the next one. Because I don't know if she's going to get back to me or not. So being very quick with communication, being open with communication, being transparent, being professional, and just like the business skills. Like, and that's the reason, not to like keep plugging my course, but like that's the reason I designed Nailpreneur is because people can do the nails. They're all creative, but it's the business skills, the writing the invoice properly, the set etiquette, the how to talk to a celebrity, when to know, if you need to step away from them for a moment. Like those are the things that they don't teach you in school that are priceless. And those are the things that'll get you called back.
So that's in your course. Mm-hmm. Okay, so can you walk me through your course? Like how many months is it? Like what is that? Yeah, what does it look like?
So it's 8 weeks.
Okay.
It's online, but it's very hands-on and it's live. It's not pre-recorded content. It is it's one module that comes out per week and then everyone watches it and then we have a live call.
Okay.
The next night. So people can ask questions live. We actually just had a call with a beauty attorney to talk about like trademarking and LLCs and, protecting your brand basically. And I wanted, because that's so important that most of us don't think about. We just get excited about the logo and the colors and the font and like making your Instagram. But okay, what if someone else owns that, that lives in like San Jose, California and they come after you with a cease and desist, it's going to cost you a lot more money to like rebrand versus you could have just done like a quick search to see if, they already owned that trademark. So things like that. And then I go over branding, of course.
Yes.
Love branding, to help us become professional and cohesive and memorable for clients. And then we talk about social media mostly for nail professionals, but I do have a makeup artist in class. So it is open to hair and makeup, even though it's called Nailpreneur.
Nice. Okay, wait. So tell me why they're taking that class. Because of the business side of it?
So, exactly, because a lot of it is evergreen content.
Copy.
Yeah. I mean, branding, it's evergreen. Social media is evergreen. We talk about like what agents look for. We talk about what it's like on set, behind the scenes, 2 modules now, behind the scenes, set etiquette. We talk about building, like getting press, talking about building credibility. A lot of it's evergreen stuff for beauty professionals across the board.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Okay, so it's 8 weeks, and then when they finish, they are able to, like, well, if you have availability, then they might be able to work with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But obviously that's not a guarantee because then you have all these people.
I try really hard.
Yeah.
But like, here's the thing. They're all spread out in the country.
Okay.
So I only have 2 in New York City right now in this course.
Nice.
So even though I have other students from other classes in New York, not everyone's available all the time. If I'm doing, like Tara, for example, that if she's not available, I go to my next student. Maybe she's not available. And so, and I know this for a fact because I'm still looking for more assistants. Mm. So there's never like this competition of, oh my God, if I join, I'll never get to work with her because there's definitely enough work to go around. Yeah. And sometimes like I have a job next month, I need 2 assistants.
Right.
So...
yeah. And your assistants graduate and move very fast.
I know. Tara just did a beauty campaign for this makeup brand. I'm like, you go, girl.
I know. And I'm like, they get covers of magazines. I'm like, oh my gosh, that person was just assisting Julie.
Yep.
It happens so quickly.
Yeah.
Do you think the trajectory within like being a makeup artist or being a manicurist specifically is like you can navigate it a lot faster than the other parts of glam, or do you think it's more of like it's the Julie touch, like
I'd like to think it's me.
Yes,
but yes. I mean, because I do know a lot of people to suggest my students to, for sure. But there are less, just by numbers, there are less manicurists.
Okay.
In the industry. But yeah.
Yeah. In terms of creative direction, what makes somebody a creative director?
When I was a creative director at Paintbox, so we had the lookbook, which as far as I know was the first salon to do a lookbook with nail art looks in it, similar to my book really, with like nail art looks in it and then color combos that the client would look at when they came in. And I was in charge of designing the nail looks. I was on set when we did our lookbook campaign and things like that. So really anything that is kind of entails the creative process behind a brand. I mean, it can be as much as like rearranging furniture for a brand.
Okay.
If that's what,
if that's what they want you to do.
If that's what your brand is, yeah.
Did you have representation immediately or were you representing yourself first?
No, I was represented immediately.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So the story was, this is such a good story. I love to tell it. And this was like very not like shy little Julie, but for some reason it just came out of my mouth. So July of 2010 was when I flew here to New York from Ohio to meet with Timothy Priano, who was my first agent. And I met with all of his agents first, and then I met with Timothy after. And if anyone knows Timothy, he's very forward. He, like, there is no guessing what he's thinking. Like, he tells it like it is. And he looked at me and he said, Julie, why don't you live here? And I said, if you sign me, I'll move. And he signed me on the spot. And I flew home that night. Yeah, and I started packing my house that night. Uh-huh.
Wow.
And I was like, where did that come from, Julie? But it worked.
That's good.
Yeah. So when I moved here, I already had representation by him.
That's so good.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like, in terms of like manifesting.
Yeah.
Like you can manifest what you want, but if you never talk about it out loud, it's like, how can your helpers find you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yep.
You asked for what you wanted and then he was like, all right.
Yeah.
Done.
Do it. Yeah. And I didn't even have a book. I had like 4 photos. I did one cover for Upscale magazine, which I'm not even sure is still around.
Yeah. I remember that magazine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. I flew all the way to Atlanta to shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Paid for out of my own pocket. Like.
Yeah. You're like, I'm going to get this sheet.
I'm going to get it.
Get this tear sheet.
Cynthia Bailey from Housewives of Atlanta. Yeah.
She's really sweet.
Yeah, she is.
I got a chance to meet her at Essence Fest actually. And I did her makeup. She was doing some stuff with Estee. But yeah, she's really nice.
Yeah. That was my first cover. And, you know, I barely even had a book other than that. Just some like test shoots.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, if you don't really have much of a book, I mean, things have changed in the past, 13 years, but sometimes it's personality. It's just,
and ask for what you want.
Asking for what you want.
Yeah. When you think about like where you want to be, do you want to retire? Do you have a certain age that you want to retire? Yeah, do you want to retire? Like, do you want to like, this is it? Like, I'm done. I am like finished with this. Or do you want to like teach? Or do you want to like move to a different country? Or do you want to?
That's a really good question.
You know?
I work so hard and so much that I don't even know if I know what
that looks
not working looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely like physically doing the nails is great and I do love it, but there's something really special about doing something like teaching that just goes so much beyond the actual person that I'm working with at the time. So like to teach or to have like an online academy and a bigger scale, like scaling that just so I can make a difference with other nail professionals because we really have not the best what's what I'm looking for? A best name in the industry, I guess, is nail techs. We're always like the last one's called, so I really want that to change. And I feel like I can do it. So after I do that, then I can retire and move to like Bali or, St. Martin or something like that.
Something warm.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk to you about health insurance because like, I know you had some things happen this year that were kind of like intense in terms of like
health.
And I remember you saying that like being prepared with that was really, really important and working for ourselves.
Yeah.
Did you have health insurance right away or did you kind of like, I didn't.
Oh my God.
I'm going to keep it 100. I didn't have it in the beginning because I was just like trying to figure it out. But
I know.
Yeah. Was that one of the first things that you were like, I got to get this?
So I've actually had the same health insurance as I moved here.
Okay,
I
great.
was grandfathered in to a plan that I had in Ohio.
Okay.
So I have a very high deductible. This is like super like transparent because I love transparent conversations.
Same.
I have a super high deductible. But can I tell you how much all my surgery I had? So I had to let everyone know, I had 3 foot surgeries last year, along with like severe TMJ, like major neck pain. Like it was just, I was like,
it was wild. And it was right off of a vacation, which was insane.
Right after, I was like, I didn't even do anything.
For 3 weeks.
I was on vacation.
You finally rested. And your body was like, actually, we'd like to.
Just kidding. Vacation's not done.
Yeah.
So my foot surgeries, I added them up. I would want to say if my insurance didn't cover it. Now, this is just the cost of the procedures, not including the time I had to take off work, all of that stuff. We're looking at like $50K probably of what it would have cost me. Maybe more. Maybe more. This is, I looked at my thing and, they have to show you the number of what it would have cost and then what the insurance,
what the insurance would be.
Whatever. But my insurance did me very well, very good last year.
Yeah, that's great.
So I would have had to spend like $50K just on my surgeries, not including the time I had to take off work. And I barely worked from September until January I was on vacation, but until Fashion Week. From Fashion Week until Fashion Week, I really didn't work.
Which is like basically 6 months. Well, no, like
5.
4. Yeah, like 4. Yeah, exactly. Like 5 months.
So plus like I couldn't walk. So I had to take Ubers everywhere. That added up.
Wow.
So the point is, insurance is like such a topic that it's a hard conversation to have right now. But the idea is take care of yourself, go to the doctor ASAP, because what happened with me, my ankle started to hurt the first day of Fashion Week, and I was like, it's fine, it's tendonitis, it'll go away. 2 weeks later, I was in so much pain, and then I went in for my first surgery, and that morning I nearly blacked out on my bathroom floor because I was in so much pain. Like I don't know how I didn't actually black out that morning.
Wow.
And I have pretty high tolerance for pain.
Yeah.
It was bad. So if you can't just like go get insurance because it's expensive, I get it.
Yeah.
Just like take care of your body, get acupuncture. I know that you're a fan of acupuncture as well. I went yesterday, like highly recommended. As nail professionals, we bend over all day. We're always, I clench my jaw.
Yeah.
So, we're always like hunched over like this. We have to really like learn posture, learn like the proper ergonomics when we're in our chair, sitting for 8 or 10 hours a day. It's so important to just start working on those things before the pains happen.
Yeah. And I think also like prioritizing getting the insurance before you go get your Louis Vuitton bag.
Yeah.
Like I feel like sometimes you'll see people, you're like, did you go see the dentist last year? And they're like,
right.
No. But it's like, it's like I think there's such a temptation to do the outward things versus like actually taking care of the things that matter.
Because then it's just going to cost you more money if you don't have the insurance. So get the insurance, and then the money that you save.
Yeah, you can spend it on your stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can spend it on things you want. Other insurances that you think that people need or ways to prepare for having a business?
I mean, when you have a studio like mine, you definitely need insurance. For like to protect the space, and then to protect if anything happens inside of there, like a chemical spill or anything like that, or if someone breaks in.
Okay.
Definitely always protecting yourself no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Those are good things to have. I think being prepared is like, I think it's maybe not necessarily what people are thinking about, but like you said in your Nailpreneur course, like how you're like, okay, no, we had an attorney come and look at things. Within your agency, do you have an attorney that separately looks at your contracts, or is that like all in one thing?
I think we don't have like an attorney that's on staff. They have been drawn up by an attorney.
Got it.
So that my agent knows, that it's taken care of properly before they send it to a client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Finding a good attorney, that somebody who can respond fast enough, like you said, it's like responding really quickly is a big deal.
Yep.
Do you do social contracts as well? Like, do you have any brands that you work with specifically that are like social contracts? Like, I have to put out this many posts, or I have to do this many things.
My agent handles, either my agent or my publicist will handle those, depending on who the job like came through. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely.
So you have 2 agents. You have one here in New York and then one in LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which is rare.
That is rare.
I know, and it was very organic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So my agent here in New York is Brian Bantry, and I've been with them for just over 10 years now. And so they handle mostly e-commerce, things like that. But I wanted to do more celebrity.
Okay.
And Christina Aviles, which is a friend of mine, I've known her for 13 years since I moved here. Mm-hmm. She opened Star Touch Agency, which is an agent for manicurists and hand and parts models. So Christina herself originally was a manicurist in LA. And so when her clients were in New York, she wanted me to take care of them. So that's kind of how that became organic. And then I just work with her mostly from like my celeb clients. And then I still work with Brian Bantry for e-commerce and things like that. And sometimes, things come through different, like sometimes I'll still get a celeb from Bantry, but not as much. So yeah, that's how I have 2.
So Brian Bantry focuses more on commercial?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Or like campaign?
Yes.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So do you feel like when you choose an agent as a manicurist, you have to go with somebody who like specializes in a specific thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I was looking at the Wall Group website recently, mm-hmm. and like all of those artists, and I think that you probably know, and maybe a lot of people know, or if not, they specialize in celebrity.
Yeah.
Representing artists that work with celebrities.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's something that you want, the Wall Group is probably a really good fit for you.
Yeah.
But if you don't want anything to do with celebrities, they intimidate you, you want a regular schedule, whatever, maybe you should look for someone. And the way that you can tell this is looking at their portfolios, mm-hmm. is if they have a lot of commercial work in their portfolio.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there such thing as a film and TV manicurist?
In a word, not really.
Okay.
Because there's not a space for us in the union.
Okay.
So, I mean, I wish that was different. I have done film and TV, but that was because the celebrity talent brought me on as like a special, like as a side thing. Like I'm not in the union because we can't be.
Yeah.
So a lot of like press-ons are made. Sometimes the makeup artist does it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I remember them asking me to do that. I've only done one film, and like Julie, you know that I know nothing about nails. I can't even like faux paint my own nails. I was like, you want me to get your nails done? And I was like, let me just call somebody.
It's a whole different.
So I just called like, you know, a manicurist that I'm cool with, and was like, hey, can you come in, you know, New Orleans and do this?
Yeah.
And I was just like, because I was like, this is wild.
It's not as easy as just like polishing.
Yeah, and then trailers are also incredibly tight. Like, it's already tight enough to work with people at their home.
Right.
Or like at a hotel room. But in a trailer, there's really no space. Mm-mm. So it's like, you know, you're not trying to do that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think she ended up doing gel. And then I think I may be scheduled for her to do like a pedicure somewhere else. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Or for them to come to her hotel room or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting that they're not included in the union though.
I know. How do I change that?
Yeah, that's a very interesting
Because nails is
point.
such an important part of a character.
Huge. And then also, they tend to have, you know, like a person who has a hand or a foot or whatever, like they're not keeping, especially if it's like Brad Pitt, he's not doing the hand part.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. They have parts models.
They have parts models. Thank you for the word. Yeah, exactly. Right. So like having someone make sure that person's hand looks really good is a big deal. Yeah.
I know. If anyone's in the union and they know how to get nail professionals, holler at us.
Yeah.
Because it's such an important thing and I really want to know.
Yeah, I think it can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to promote today?
One thing is, so I'm going to Jamaica.
Yes.
This summer.
Wait, where did you go? You went in the Caribbean last year too. Was it also Jamaica?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
So technically annually, but we had to skip for the pandemic.
Okay.
So I go to Jamaica every year to teach nails to under-resourced youth there. Mm-hmm. And the founder is also a celebrity hairstylist. She lives in LA. And we raise money and we get product from different brands like C&D, and they put together kits for the students there so that they have a career.
Yeah. And
we're going to go late June, early July. And it's so rewarding, and it's amazing. So it's a really special time. So if anyone has their heart to donate a little bit to TradeWorks, it's TradeWorks 5013C Foundation.
Nice. So would they donate money, time? Would they go with you? Can they be your best friend?
Well, we are, I think, open to looking for another barber.
Okay.
Because we teach barbering, cosmetology, or like hairstyling and nails.
Okay.
So we are open to another barber at the moment to come if anyone is a barber to teach, but we do need donations as well so that we can provide scholarships. And you know, it's tough for them to get around. Like, we need money for them to be able to take the bus to class and get uniforms and things like that, and food and lunch. And yeah. I mean, these kids really
need that
very much. So.
Yeah. You're reminding me of something like important in terms of making sure that you really pay attention to like what you're doing in your spare time that doesn't have to do with you, you know, like thinking about things outside of us working, because, you know, I think that it's very easy to get caught up in just doing stuff, and you're like, oh, I need to like land this client, or I need to do this thing, or I need to negotiate this rate, I need to do, and it's like to be able to take the time. How long are you there for?
I'll be there a week.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just doing the nail portion, and then the others are going to start with the barbering first.
Yeah.
And then I'll meet them there.
Okay.
So it's like 10 days altogether for them, and then a week for me.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I need to definitely think about that, not only just here in the U.S., but also things that I can do like back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give back.
Cool. Thank you so much, Julie, for being here.
So welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, you've gotten to the end of the episode, and thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of the It Takes a Village podcast community. If you're looking for a way to help us grow, leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts. Every review counts, and I read all of them. Also, if you're feeling like leaving some questions, things that you want to hear me answer or ask in the next couple episodes, please leave that there as well, so that way I can incorporate some of my favorites. And if somebody came to mind while you were listening to this episode, please hit the share button and invite them into the conversation. As always, show notes are available at ittakesavillagepod.com. That's pod.com. You can follow me at Delina Medhin. That's DeLina Medhin. Lastly, I just want to say thank you for being patient with me. This is an episode that I'm so excited to release. Being able to talk to people about their village, being able to connect with you deeply about your own village is something that I hope will help take your business to the next level. And that's really what this whole thing is about. It's what's driving me to continue to have these conversations. Hopefully these conversations are resonating with you the way they're resonating with me. I'm having so many aha moments during this show, and I just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the reviews. Thank you for the subscribes, the likes, the comments, but even just listening. Just listening means so much to me. And with that, I'll see you in the next episode.